a Palestinian in Judea, Samaria, the Gaza Strip, murders or attempts to murder Jews, they or their family, if they're imprisoned or killed, get money from that's the Palestinian version of welfare. They get money from us, money that we send our taxpayer money to the Palestinian Authority, which then pays those heroes of Palestinianism for their attempts, sometimes successful, to kill Jews. The Council on American Islamic Relations is now putting together their own version of the Martyrs Fund and cutting $1,000 checks for anti-Israel agitators who have been disciplined in colleges. I mean, this really is amazing because they are funding what is essentially crime. Like, in some places that the law was enforced when we saw the campus intifada in the spring of 2024. Places like Emory University in Atlanta gave us some pretty memorable scenes. Some places it was less enforced, places like Columbia University in Manhattan. Um, but yeah, the deal is basically if next time you go and protest in support supposedly of the Palestinians, if you do worse things than most people, worse things than you did it before, you are more likely to get funded by CAIR. Again, we know what happened in the campus intifada, and we'll go through it a bit in the episode. So we know exactly what this is. This is very much an Americanized version of the Martyrs Fund. Welcome to the reality show. I'm Razi Ginsburg, joined by Daniel Kraus and Iyar Reichel. Iyar, your initial thoughts on this latest project of CAIR?
Yeah, so I just want to say a few words on this entity. It has founded in 1994 by individuals with direct ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. It's basically it's a puppet of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States. It is connected to Hamas. They are funneling money to Hamas, according to some evidence that there is. And of course, they're promoting anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. They stated they are happy to see the October 7th attack at real time. So just to put things in context, I'm glad the truth is being discovered. And of course, I condemn the phenomenon itself. I think it's ugly. I think it's just insane how the American left shakes hands to terrorists and to murderers. And their motive is hate for freedom, hate for men, hate for free people, hate for a country that actually wants to protect itself against savages. This is unacceptable for the left, and they've chose to partner with the jihadists.
Daniel.
Yeah, so when it comes to this organization, yeah, what they're doing right now is, or what we found out is they are giving basically $1,000 checks to, again, students that were either harassing Jewish students and were suspended because of that, or they were violating the school policy by occupying libraries, occupying buildings, stopping Jewish students from accessing certain buildings. And yeah, and this is a reward for that. Now, funnily, in the article, it describes one of the students who has received this money. He said, I have endured relentless death threats, lost my summer law firm offer and its accompanying diversity scholarship. This ordeal has set me back at least 115,000 in lost income and legal fees, an overwhelming burden for my working class family. So besides the death threats, because I think that goes beyond what should be accepted in civil society, all of that is good. If you are a Hamas supporter, I'm glad somebody is shutting you down. I'm glad a law firm will say, okay, maybe we do not want somebody who is promoting Hamas, doing Hamas propaganda to become a lawyer, or to have easy access to be a lawyer, or to have access to resources of a law firm. So all of that I think is good and should happen, again, besides the death threats. Although and that same person, the New York Post has found, has actually been sentenced to 80 hours of community service and a complete anger management program for an assault of a Jewish business student. So this is the kind of people, CAIR looks at and says, wow, okay, here you go, $1,000. And again, this 1,000, we might talk about things about CAIR that are alleged. This is not something that's like alleged. This is, they are promoting, they are using this, CAIR is using this as like their, this is what we're doing. Like something they would put in their yearly, this is what we did with your money, is we gave like 20,000 to 20 students for doing exactly this.
Yeah, yeah. As charities do, they release their annual report showing what they did, encouraging people to give more, and people will give more because this is something that anybody who supports CAIR, this is the kind of thing they want to do, they want to see. I remember CAIR being kind of at the forefront of raising awareness of the threat immediately after 9/11 of Islamophobia. It was they were a big part of it. Look, Muslims just killed 3,000 Americans. What we should really, really worry about is people fearing the ideology that was the reason why people flew those planes into those towers. Uh, I remember on my favorite show of all time, 24. On one of the 24 was about fighting terrorism, and sometimes, the terrorists were, this is a bit of a spoiler, sometimes the terrorists were Arab, were Muslim, but then there usually was some white person behind them who was American, undermining the US government. But there was one episode, and I don't remember which one, and I don't remember which season, but one episode when plot-wise, as far as you knew, it was still the Muslims who were the terrorists, and they had this public service announcement in one of the commercial breaks with CAIR, with the Council on American Islamic Relations, saying, "Look, something to the effect of not all Muslims are terrorists," and so on. And yeah, that has very much been what CAIR is, and CAIR. So CAIR has been the main organization in the U.S. pushing the pretense that when Islamist terrorists kill, that is not the problem. It's the problem is why people do the things that make Islamists want to kill them, and yeah, this is the next logical step, and we know what the next logical step is. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little point regarding language. So regarding the point of the concept of Islamophobia. So a phobia is a chronic irrational fear. For example, fear of heights, fear of fish, fear of ducks, fear of somebody being watching you all the time. There are all kind of phobias. But the fear of Islam is not Islamophobia. It is a valid fear because we, the Western world, have been through what I call an Islamotrauma. So if you've experienced Islamotrauma, your fear of Islam is not Islamophobia. It is completely rational and justified. Islam is not only a religion, it is a political movement supporting jihad. And the vast majority of Muslim people give moral sanction to jihad, at least by silence. If something very evil is done on the behalf of your religion or political affiliation, and you do not explicitly condemn it, it just counts as basically giving passive support for it. And it's time that whomever person who believes in Islam, it's time for whomever of them who is rational to condemn and completely go against the whole point of jihad, the whole point of the political goals of Islam, of ruling the world and enslaving everyone. And it's just a must. And the fact that after September 11, instead of condemning jihad, the Islamic world went to the campaign against Islamophobia, it just evidence that every political movement that is related to Islam is evil, is an enemy of the West, and has to be treated in that way. And this political movement should be dismantled as long as they do not condemn and fight against jihad. It's time for a reform in the Islamic world. And nobody dares to say it. Everybody's keeping their mouth shut in the West regarding this obvious problem. Everybody sees this, everybody knows that. And people going out of their doing tremendous efforts just to deny this fact. And we can see it very well in the United Kingdom with what is called grooming gang and what I call Islamic rape gangs.
Yeah. Okay, Daniel, and then I'll say something on a slightly different topic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that focus on like Islamophobia. By the way, since I've only recently looked up, apparently phobia has also like a different Greek origin, which can also include like hatred. So it's not just irrational fear, it can also be sort of like hatred. But when people use it with specifically Islamophobia, what they're trying to do is they're using it as a package deal. They're using it the sort of the okay part of it, or sort of like rightful thing, which is like hating brown people, and they connect it with disliking or having like a rational objection to Islamic terrorism or even Islamic governance, Sharia law, etc., etc., or even the sort of anti-Western values which Islam you would not be surprised to hold. When it comes to, yeah, sort of the focus on Islamophobia after 9/11, I mean, it again reminds me of a really good Norm Macdonald joke. It's like, one thing I'm scared about is like a dirty bomb exploding in New York and the backlash against innocent Muslims after that, right? We don't care about, the people it actually kills. The only thing we care about is the backlash to some we care about the Islamophobia part. So yeah, and when it comes to a little bit more about CAIR itself, one really great thing about maybe I shouldn't finish the sentence. One interesting thing about the Muslim Brotherhood is that generally other Arab states are not fan of it. So oftentimes, if you are looking for ties to Muslim Brotherhood, look at what other Arab states are doing. In 2000, when was it? In 2000, I think it was 14, United Arab Emirates actually designated CAIR as a terrorist organization because of their ties to Muslim Brotherhood. Because, as I said, many Arab states do not like Muslim Brotherhood. And therefore, if they see the connection, they call it out. And I think even earlier in I think it was 2009, a federal judge has actually federal judge in America has ruled that there was sufficient evidence of CAIR's connections to Hamas specifically, which again I don't really understand how an organization can like survive that, can like get away with, oh yeah, we have connections to this, if it simply is that you fire a bunch of people and that makes it good. Although that's what we've seen with organizations such as UNRWA or UN itself, so maybe it's not that surprising, but yeah, CAIR should be absolutely investigated more because of their ties. And we might go into Texas. Texas Governor Abbott has actually designated CAIR as a terrorist organization together with Muslim Brotherhood. So yeah, maybe we can also go into that.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that and say, it would be good if it was designated a terrorist organization, by the president. He seems too busy fawning over terrorists and wanting to be more like them. So I don't know if that's happening anytime soon. It's also, you never know what side of what issue this president is going to take in 5 minutes, let alone tomorrow. So anyway, Robert Nasser has been a member of this YouTube channel for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. Exactly. And he says, just a public service message to say the Irreplaceable Spark Conference was pretty damn awesome, in all caps. Don't miss next year's conference in Austin, Texas. Absolutely next year. The 17th, 18th of October in Austin, Texas. I think it will be before the end of this week that we announce the first speaker, and we will announce many more very soon. Super early bird prices and December 1st, I believe. So make sure you get your tickets before then or get them afterwards. That is better for us. And yeah, there is a link in the... Daniel will put the link in the chat soon, and there is one in the description. Yeah.
Hoping to be able to arrive to the next conference.
Yeah, it will be, you should, it will be fun. But yeah, I was going to you to go back to the topic, and then maybe we'll show a clip soon that I think is relevant.
Yeah, let's move on to the clip.
All right, I have to say this clip is not necessarily super on topic. It's just something that the general topic makes me want to see again. This is the kind of person that CAIR wants to give $1,000 to. By the way, the guy you read, Daniel, who said he's lost 150,000 in income for his working class family. I'm like, the math doesn't really add up for me. But anyway, I'm sure now that it's 149,000, he's much better off. Let's watch this clip and see how one of the people sponsored by CAIR, what she did to earn that $1,000.
Well, this is professors, we should say, and I think the other thing was just focus on students. But I'm sure they wouldn't refrain from helping this person as well.
You people are fascists! You are Hitler! You are a rabid dog! Shame on you! May you never live another day!
I am a professor!
This is an Hitler professor,
I
everyone!
am a professor of economics!
You are rabid dogs! You are fascists!
It was a peaceful protest until they started fighting troopers. I agree with you.
L-I-N! I reacted impulsively. I apologize.
No, you're right. It's right to rebel. I'm gonna share this.
Please remove the handcuffs.
All right, I mostly wanted to have fun and watch that again. It's been a while, but yeah, that was hard earned, but pretty quick $1,000 to make. I don't know. Yeah, if I say I'll give you $1,000 if you go punch a cop, I'm pretty sure I'm already committing a crime. I guess maybe if I give you the $1,000 afterwards without promising it before, but it is promised before. So yeah, thoughts?
I just want to say, first of all, I think this video is ugly and grotesque and sad. It's not a very long video, but it tells so much. Like, for example, the protest culture of the left, the absolutely no respect for private property, the way cops are being chanted fascist or whatever, the fact that people choose to initiate violence and use force and once again, occupy others, people, private property, and the owners of the property did nothing wrong and they do not deserve it. And yeah, and the fact she's being funded by a Hamas affiliated organization, it just shows the complete moral bankruptcy of the academia and the left in general. And Ayn Rand wrote about it in the 60s already and in the 70s. And even in Atlas Shrugged that came out in 57, she wrote about what's going on in the academia, and it's just sad and ugly, and it's a very, very bad indication for what's going on right now in the States. But I am glad that the mainstream, the vast majority of people are starting to get sick about it. The problem is that there is still an intellectual vacuum. There is still no alternative proposed besides what we speak in our little fringe objectivist Ayn Rand clubs. But I am looking at it. I see a positive future where those ideas grow larger and become more mainstream. This is the hope for Earth.
Well, first of all, yeah, as Daniel mentioned, this is for the $1,000 is for students. She was a professor. It's also a year and a half old. I'll tell you why I love that clip. This was from the campus Intifada, where we were seeing scenes like this in a bunch of universities, and in most of them, the cops did nothing, and they did nothing, over worse things. They should have acted. In this case, they acted. The whole sequence there of her thinking, I can try to punch a cop. What are they going to do? And then they do something. And then her first defense is to scream repeatedly, I'm a professor, as if that means, the no punching a cop law doesn't apply to me. And then apologize. The whole sequence there, I thought, was beautiful. And yeah, the beautiful part is the law being enforced, not the need for the cops to do what they did. But yeah.
I agree.
Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, something more about again, CAIR itself. So interestingly enough, in 2023, the Biden administration, after October 7, were doing some campaign against anti-Semitism, some kind of thing, some kind of task force to combat anti-Semitism. And CAIR was one of the organizations that participated in that were part of combating anti-Semitism. Although thankfully, at least I guess eventually we got this right. Apparently the director of CAIR, Avad, has actually been, surprise, surprise, praising October 7th, saying people breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land. So, looking at October in a similar way as, CAIR after 9/11 was concerned with Islamophobia. After October 7, what we are afraid of is the blowback against Palestinians because of it, instead of caring about the terrorist act itself. And after that, the Biden administration has actually cut a lot of the ties with CAIR. Although there is some, I'm not sure if we want to go into it now, but what is happening, and this is a lot of alleged stuff, apparently CAIR has been getting federal grants for certain things, such as I think one of them was housing Afghan refugees, and allegedly they've used that money to basically make sub-grants to themselves to use it to run the institution itself, possibly to support candidates in election, basically doing a lot of bad stuff that a non-governmental organization shouldn't do with your money. If you are an American, of course, if somebody is getting federal grant, that's your money that is being used. Now, again, this is allegedly, and the Justice Department is looking into this. So we might see more in the terms of coming after CAIR. But again, this is what is happening with taxpayer money. Again, this is what happens when you have this amount of connection between organizations and the government itself, is that some of the money will go to the destruction of that state, since CAIR doesn't care about America, doesn't care about American values. It is a front for the Muslim Brotherhood, for Hamas. As we said, the founders have ties to Hamas, and the CAIR has been accused, even by the Department of Justice many times, of even materially supporting Hamas. So this is the organization we're dealing with. The fact that this organization is still able to exist is incredible, and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, thank you, Robert, for the super chat. Robert says, also ask Caribbean drug runners and random fishermen whether President Trump has the moral authority to declare anyone a terrorist organization. Well, he has the legal authority, and my hopes, the extent of my hopes with anything Trump related is that, he'll do some good alongside the very, very bad things that he is doing in his quest to destroy America.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, I would even throw there that, president has the authority to designate as a terrorist organization, but you still have to prove the ties. I'm not saying, designate CAIR as a terrorist organization or designate whatever as a terrorist organization, and that gives you the right to kill all brown people or something without due process, because whatever, let's just go with them. It's even if CAIR is designated or CAIR has more alleged ties or has more ties to Hamas, what you do is you dissolve it legally. You go through, you don't send National Guard to go into CAIR offices and kill them all or something like that.
No, I mean, look, right now designating them a terrorist organization, first of all, removes their legal status, which allows them to, raise money with people getting tax benefits from donating to them. So if they want to give $1,000 to each student terrorist wannabe, it'll be difficult to get that money in the first place, and to get them to the students, it'll have to be, in cash, in unmarked bills, and it'll make life difficult for them at the very least. Yeah, it doesn't mean that, and yeah, some of them will eventually, hopefully, be arrested, because if they have ties to terrorists, they should not be free to roam the streets of American cities. Thank you, Robert Naser, for another super chat. Robert says, "Don't you know who I am is always a declaration of entitlement and moral bankruptcy. I try hard as it is to avoid using the expression. So do I, but I do really get offended when people don't know who I am. So, yeah."
As long as you know who you are right, for good and for bad. I hope this organization will be classified as a terrorist organization because it supports political violence, and this is terror, just plain and simple. And this should be outlawed. You do not initiate the use of power and coercion to achieve anything. And when you do it to achieve political change, you basically do a crime against the whole civilization. You are basically fighting against freedom.
Daniel.
By the way, I actually use "Do you know who I am?" but I use it in the opposite way. When they say no, then I just go through, because they don't know who I am. They won't come after me. So this is the opposite way. You can use it. I mean, one more thing we know about CAIR is apparently earlier this year they tried to sue somebody for defamation or something like that, because somebody was saying, you have ties to Hamas, and or no, I think it was specifically somebody was claiming that they take funding from Hamas. I think it was specifically they tried to sue for defamation, and instead of going into trial and possibly have to disclose where their funding is from, which they do not do fully, they do not do openly. Instead of that, they actually did settle so they could get away without disclosing all of their donors. So again, like when it comes to, and I think it's important to see where the funding is coming from, both from the national security aspect of knowing, is there an organization in America that is either it is providing funding to Hamas or to terrorist organization, to Muslim Brotherhood, to anybody in the region, is supporting the enemies of America, or on the other side is receiving funding from those organizations. But also, just knowing openly, like having transparency. Who is this organization dealing with? One other organization, we mentioned the Campus Intifada, Students for Justice in Palestine, have ties to CAIR. People like Mahmoud Khalil, not Mahmoud Khalil. Who was the student? Was that Mahmoud Khalil?
That was one of them, yeah. That was the
Okay,
first
okay.
one.
It's okay. I don't want to make the statement. It's hard to know if it's like a student on American university or a terrorist in the Middle East, based on name. But that's racist coming from me.
Not really, but continue.
Yeah, so people like Mahmoud Khalil, they are part of the Students for Justice in Palestine. I think he either was the president of the organization on itself or just a local chapter at his university. So we have like all of these connections. The Department of Justice should look into this. There should be. That's why, if we go originally to when Mahmoud Khalil was arrested. That's why I wanted to have like a full-on investigation. If we have like actual terrorists or people, students being supported by organizations that have ties to terrorist organizations, that should be looked into. It shouldn't just be one or two people get arrested. This whole thing should be dismantled. This whole thing should be looked into and properly dealt with. Or, America will be slowly getting dismantled. So and also the cancellation aspect of it. I think anybody who gives money to this organization should be canceled from their workplace. People shouldn't be dealing with them. I think cancel culture to a large extent is good. If we have somebody who is undeniably, I think, lost, let's say he hasn't done anything illegal, but has gone, has completely lost the moral credibility, I think every single supermarket should boycott them, not sell them food. And as far as I'm concerned, like let them start to that. I mean, to some extent, even if you don't break law, if you are such an evil person, people shouldn't want to deal with you. People shouldn't want to support these ideas just because of some idea of tolerance. We shouldn't be tolerant of certain ideas.
Thank you, Govind, for gifting an Ayn Rand Center UK YouTube membership, and congratulations, Deborah, for receiving that membership. Okay, let's read a little bit from the article in the New York Post. So the headline is Muslim group CAIR cutting $1,000 checks for anti-Israel agitators who have been disciplined by colleges. Okay, so it's by colleges. So, but of course, people disciplined by colleges are typically people who also committed crimes, at least in this context. So let's read the article. Anti-Israel agitators who spread disruption at U.S. colleges and were punished by authorities were awarded checks for $1,000 by a Muslim nonprofit, the Post has learned. The money was given to students who faced penalties for leading pro-Hamas protests before and after the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7, 2023, according to a bombshell report by the Network Contagion Research Institute and the Intelligent Advocacy Network. The cash was awarded from a Champions of Justice Fund set up by the California chapter of the Council on American Muslim Relations as, quote, institutional endorsement, the report claims. In California, the largest arm of the CAIR web of nonprofits, affiliates in San Francisco and Los Angeles raised more than 100,000 in donations for campus radicals, while the main group solicited 64,000 in donations, record show. Now, we know certainly what happened in UCLA because we covered that when we covered the campus intifada. There were actual attacks on Jews that were, recorded. And Daniel, this is kind of mid-episode. I don't know if you can find any of those, but it would be interesting to see who exactly CAIR wants to support. What is it? What action do you have to take? And take any job, what actions you have to take to get paid. What actions do you have to take to get paid here? And again, if we don't show any clips, go back during the campus intifada. We covered it for 2 weeks straight, I think, on both shows. We did pretty much nothing else, and yeah, we showed a lot of what these people did. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, it's good that this organization was designated as a terror organization in Texas. Regarding other places, it's still unclear what's going on. The fact that they've managed to fundraise this amount of money, this is just disgusting. I don't have much to say about it. Just ugly. I apologize for not having anything to say, but this information just makes me frustrated, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Of course, it's not at all surprising that they can raise this money, not just from Muslims in America and Muslims elsewhere, but from non-Muslims who, support this cause and will then be shocked at their own destiny when they find themselves living under Sharia law. Yeah, Daniel.
So I mean, when it comes to specific the students, one of them I mentioned earlier, or this is from the article, from the New York Post article itself. We might read it in a second. But yeah, it was for assault on a Jewish student. So this is the now. It is kind of assumed by the New York Post because they use a quote from somebody and they manage to connect it to somebody else that looks like that student. But even then, even if it is simply, people who are being targeted by the university, or that, university, what was the wording they used? Punished or something like that. I cannot find it right now. But just sanctioned by the university or whatever. It's still like that's a good thing. And like if you are participating in protests, like the fact that the universities didn't go harder after these students, didn't go harder after like Hamas supporters. This is what we're dealing with. This is not just students doing something. This is what is happening. So absolutely, the university should have went harder after the students, should have kicked them all out, as far as I'm concerned. The law firms or the other firms that are employing those students, they shouldn't want them there. They should, like, if you are a business, because what will happen, right? I think we've covered this at some point a few months ago, where a bunch of, I think it was specifically Google, where a bunch of like employees of Google who were Hamas supporters like came in, took over offices, took over like their own boss or something like that. It's like you do not want these people. You do not want to have these people in your university. So yeah, all of that is good. And yeah, people shouldn't like people. And this is what I've been always saying. People should be more judging about other people's ideas. People should be less, as much as, it sounds, people should be less accepting of certain ideas. I think there is a reasonable, the sort of the Overton window of like acceptable ideas. And I think the Overton window is way too big so far. There are certain ideas that shouldn't be accepted. And by accepted, I do not mean by the government, but by people. If you have a business, you shouldn't accept this. If you are a university, there's certain ideas that you shouldn't expect. But these students, we are not talking about like random students. These are the most prestigious universities in the world. And this is the kind of thing that those universities are putting out. That's scary that they can, that these type of students can get there.
Yeah, I don't know if the Overton window is too big. It's just where it's placed is terrifying. Um, oh wait, the next paragraph in this article is interesting. The money was then offered as interest-free loans in grants of $1,000 to students who lost, quote, scholarships, housing, or other support because of their advocacy, according to CAIR's website. Okay, I mean, so we remember to some extent, and again, go back and watch the shows we did, what was going on during the campus intifada and what didn't result in disciplining students. Taking over a chunk of university, nobody was disciplined over that. Even breaking windows and breaking into places, no, people were not always disciplined over that. You really had to be actually violent. So CARE is really saying we will give you money if you go not just beyond the legal red line, but beyond the line that you need to cross for anybody to actually do anything about it. So, you know, the terrorist supporting students start off with the protection of the university and the police, in a sense, protection from having the law enforced against them. And then when they cross the threshold, they go too far, then people like CARE come in and support them even further. That is what this is about. And again, that is why it's another moment in which we should hopefully have people looking into CARE in terms of whether or not it should remain a legal organization. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said about the Overton window. And to put it in more specific terms, as of now, Overton window is basically the ideology and views that are widely accepted by the vast majority of people. And this is important because, for example, politicians can only act within the Overton window. And as of now, in the Western world, the Overton window is very collectivist, is very subjectivist, is very welfare state, statism in general, and freedom is pretty much getting further away outside the Overton window. And that's the problem we're facing. And the ideas of freedom of a state that its only role is to prevent crime and prevent violence is completely outside of the Overton window. And this is just a shame. And it's, as I said earlier, it's time for those views to become popular. It's now or never.
There was a lot to say about our anti-Semitic trolls in the chat, but we can't say they're never funny. One of them says, I just donated 10 grand to the fund. Yes, I'm sure your full-time occupation of trolling us brings in so much money that you can easily donate such amounts. Daniel.
I don't know how much I can say, although Deborah in the chat says Daniel goes even further than I do, starve supporters of terror. I mean, again, not by the state. I believe in sort of every individual deciding that maybe certain people, you shouldn't sell food to. As long as it's free market, as long as everybody agrees to it, I'm fine with that. Because yeah, like, you shouldn't be expected to support certain kind of ideas. You shouldn't want to. I mean, it's one thing, dealing with a Democrat or a Republican, somebody you might not support politically, to some extent, but generally they are pro-American. Generally, they support American values. They might just disagree on like specific things, or even positively, even when it comes to politics, maybe positively their own life they actually produce. Even though many people are mixed, many people have mixed ideas when it comes to politics. Accept certain bad things, but generally live a life of production. When it comes to people who, again, support Hamas or even support the pro-Palestinian, because this is what it is. expecting that somehow you can support Palestinians without accepting what Palestinians actually stand for. Like, during World War II, you can stand up for the Germans, but, disagree with what the Nazi government is doing. It doesn't work like that. It's when you are supporting certain group, when you're supporting certain people, you are also supporting their ideas. And the ideas of Palestinians is wiping out not only of the Jewish people, not only of all Israelis, including the Arabs, and not only Israel itself. It's to go after the Western civilization. It's to go after the West itself. And anybody who is willing to support that or even compromise that, even say, this is one of the ideas we accept. This is okay thing to teach in Western universities. They should be dealt with not by the government, because again, to some extent, it's free speech, but dissociate. Don't deal with those people. Don't accept them. Don't allow them to work in your business, to come speak to your conference, whatever. Don't deal with those people.
Yes, and I can confirm that nobody from the Council on American Islamic Relations will be speaking at the Irreplaceable Spark 2 or 3 or any of future ones or the
And
past
not
ones.
because of Governor Abbott. Even if he didn't designate it, we wouldn't invite them.
Okay, this is an interesting part as well of the article. In October 2024, this is about 6 months after the campus intifada, CAIR California awarded 20 grand in loans and scholarships to 20 student protesters from the Champions of Justice Fund. The identities of the student recipients have never been revealed, but the institutions they attended were in CAIR's literature and included Columbia University, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard. So, like the main places where the police and the university did nothing. So you really had to go further than you had to go in Emory, for example, to get disciplined. So it's not unclear what it is they're trying to do. By the way, if CAIR has different chapters in different places, why CAIR in California is the one paying students in New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts is a whole other question. But let's say I don't think this is what they should. This is not the reason why they should be banned, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah.
So basically, there is also, like, how do I say, the fact that there is an investigation about this organization receiving taxpayer money. I just want to point it out and just say this is just crazy. Like, America, what's going on with you? Like, seriously, people in California need to wake up. It's time to be woke, but for the right ideas. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Sometimes it's just like it's too much nonsense to be true. It's just I can't believe this is the reality we're living in.
Yeah, and look, many Californians over the past few years realize that things aren't going well there and left. But yeah, California has enough people who, through actual understanding of what CAIR is, would support the organization and the cause, and people who don't know and don't care and just know, oh, the right hates Muslims and stuff. Let's give them money. So yeah, Daniel.
And this is not just California. Again, the grants that allegedly were misused by CAIR, those were federal grants. Those were federal grants. So it's all of U.S. taxpayers' money going into this. And yeah, I mean, it would be great if we, unfortunately, the upcoming midterms are most likely going to be much more focused about Trump than anything else. But it will be great to see more politicians trying to campaign on this, trying to campaign. Hey, let's get these organizations. Let's look into them. Let's look at what's happening. Although, unfortunately, again, because of so many even politicians have split ideas, it's really hard to find a politician that is like let's investigate these Islamist adjacent organizations without them actually being like racist and stuff like that. So it's hard to get somebody like who is principled about this. It's hard to, I mean, even look at maybe Israel itself, right? It's hard to get somebody who is actually calling out, the problem with the Palestinians, and it's not somebody like Ben Gvir or somebody like that, but it's like, okay, but you kind of have a problematic, like I'm like concerned about where is your foundation of a problem with Palestinians really coming from. So we need more rational people.
Yeah, Ben Gvir, for somebody who is, makes statements that sometimes sound better than other politicians. You do if you dig a bit deeper, not a little bit deeper, you see that he actually shares fundamental values with them more than many of us. I do think, I like to segue into advertising stuff because we practice capitalism as well as we preach it, I hope. Yeah. Is there any rational voice in the in anywhere in Israel, and is anything we need to know about that's coming up?
I think I've recognized the implication here. I think Razi is segueing into me talking about Victory Now movement. Is that correct, Razi? I'm very glad you did that. So there is a movement in Israel called Victory Now, and our book is coming out. It's supposed to come out next week. I know I've been saying it's almost here for months, but it's actually coming out in English next week. You can sign up in www.victory.now, join the waiting list for the book. And the thing about it is that unlike other movements or political movements or ideas, and then in the chat people wrote, like, for example, the Einat Wilf political party. So yeah, people left and right are starting to figure out there is a problem with Israel giving itself up for the Palestinianism, which is a political movement. It is the political movement for the destruction of Israel. But I offer something that is more essential, more radical, more found in the fundamentals, which is the moral case for Israel and why Palestinianism is a political movement of pure evil. What we have to do, we have to identify evil, we have to condemn evil, we have to delegitimize evil, and eventually, if necessary, we have to use force for self-defense and destroy evil that's coming to destroy us. And besides showing this moral basis, I show a plan, a military plan for Israel's victory. And in this book, we show how in World War II, the Western world was cornered and did in fact fought in order to win, in order to destroy the enemy. But this was an exception. And now the world has come back into the just war theory of basically never destroying evil. And it's time for this to change. So I am offering an alternative to Israel. And I think this is very, very important. And I need your support. So please visit the website and join us and join the waiting list. This is my point. And I also, by the way, I'm also an associate in the Ayn Rand Center Israel, where we promote Ayn Rand's philosophy. And I also urge you to visit aynrand.org.il/about to learn more.
Zurab in the chat says, I want Eylon Levy as Israeli Prime Minister. I hope you read Victory Now, because there's, Victory Now is an option. And another option is trying not to lose too much and kicking it down the road. I think that if Eylon Levy was writing a book about the war and what he thinks should be done, that is more likely. And again, I'm a fan. When he was fired, we did an episode titled something like Eylon Levy fired for being too pro-Israel. He is definitely more pro-Israel than the government, which made it difficult for him to be a spokesperson. But he is nowhere near. He doesn't go anywhere near far enough. And the book does go far enough. Is it coming out in print next week?
Yes. So basically, we release it in Amazon. So you can buy an ebook or you can buy a soft cover version.
Awesome. Well, the link is in the chat, the link to the website, and I'm sure there's a link to buy it on Amazon there, or will be once it's out. Daniel, parting thoughts, and where can people find you?
Again, when it comes to fighting CAIR, when it comes to fighting against anti-American, not even just anti-American organizations, but straight up getting support from terrorist organizations to fight against America, it's not complicated. Department of Justice can look into it, can file lawsuits against the organization, could potentially shut it down. This is not complicated stuff. Somebody just has to start it. Somebody just has to care. That's why even in Texas, I don't necessarily like that it is the governor doing it, because, and it's specifically the local chapter that they were trying to establish in Texas, because the person who would be taking care of the local chapter in Texas, I think, had ties to Muslim Brotherhood. So again, if you go through the Department of Justice, or specifically if you go through the lawful route, or the judicial route, I think it's usually much more sticking, establishes a precedent, which I think is very important, especially in the American system. So, we have systems in place to do so. Just somebody has to start it, and then maybe America will be able to survive one more decade. Until we eventually maybe can return it to its course.
And where can people find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Damned Dan. The link will be in the description, as well as everybody's links.
I'm Razi Ginsburg on X. I'm also Razi Ginsburg in the Irreplaceable Spark Conference too. I mean, I'm not going to be a speaker, but I will be present. Tickets at objectivism.co.uk. Sign up to our mailing list. That is free, and you will get updates. If you're not yet convinced that you should come to Spark 2, keep an eye on the mailing list. Thanks, Eyal. Thanks, Daniel. We are back tomorrow with the Daily Objective and the reality show.